You like TYT? Hell no. I think TYT is not only a failed political project, but it has been detrimental to politics because TYT is just bad populism show on the left. That's just what TYT is. And they have produced several people who are just completely detrimental to American democracy. We're talking about like Dave Rubin. We're talking about like fuck, what's the other guy? Fuck, it's just multiple people who's produced from TYT who are just like fucking terrible people. Hassan Piker, yeah, Hassan as well, right? Yeah, so Hassan, Dave Rubin. Fuck, like these people are just horrible people, like horrible people for American democracy. I would even wager to say that like TYT has single-handedly brought down American democracy an entire fucking peg or two. All right, that's how horrible TYT is. Yeah, and Jimmy Dore, yes, exactly. Like again, it's the worst of the worst people. There's guys, the only good person that came out of TYT is David Pakman. David Pakman is the only person that's good that came out of TYT. All right, the only person. Everybody else grifted as fuck. Like they grifted hard. But David Pakman is based, okay? 2 million subscribers, going strong, all right?
You know when you meet someone and they swear that all of their exes were psych?
Pakman came from TYT. He has a long history with television. He has done commercials before. Like I'm pretty sure I remember him like showing like doing drums and shit. Yeah. I had no idea he was affiliated with TYT. I mean, fuck it. Let me just double check, okay? There doesn't actually seem to be a TYT. There doesn't actually seem to be a TYT link. So yeah, all TYT produce is bad. Pretty much. Okay, fuck. Maybe it's a false memory that I suddenly, remembered for some reason or, forgot about.
Goes, and then you slowly realize that, oh, wait, I'm talking to the person who was the problem in the relationship. Unrelatedly, the Young Turks. And I'm going to make this as brief as possible because there are a million far more important and pressing things going on right now. As you know, actual fascism. But to make it brief,
Please do not mention transports. For the love of God, do not mention transports. Francesca, 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 do not mention transports. Okay? Do not mention transports. Okay, please. We are past that. Do not mention transports. Okay? Thank you.
Cenk Uygur, the head of
Yes, transport, like a plane. Yeah.
TYT, recently hath
I think I did watch this video actually, so never mind. I don't think she did mention transports. So
verboten me from appearing on any TYT
yes,
shows.
bus planes.
Because in part, I said that him capitulating to right-wing framing on many issues meant he was, quote, acting like a bitch. And the truth is, he was. And I'll explain that a little bit later. But first,
I'm so glad. I'm so glad this is what cut off the issue. No, you're right. Pac-Man was part of the TYT network from 2012 to 2015. Yes. Okay, good. My memory is still amazing. All right. Yeah. Cool. Francesca is like I'm glad she's calling Cenk a bitch because he is a bitch, all right? And if there's anything that you shouldn't do to Cenk is to insult his masculinity, so, good for
some
her.
backstory. So I have been a contractor at TYT for 10 years now, appearing on all of the shows as a fill-in host, as a guest host during election coverage, on the TYT main show,
yeah.
on the Damage Report, and on Indisputable, along with a lot of other shows. I have always hopped on at the last minute, always helped out in a pinch. I guest host last minute, and yes, I was paid. And if you're watching this and you are a TYT contributor and you are not getting paid, stop going on TYT until you do. I've never been a full-time employee, never got healthcare, never got maternity leave when I had my child. But back in 2018, I was hired for a 6-month contract to pilot a show for $3,000 a month. Then, however, their funding bottomed out and I was let go. And they broke their contract. My reps at the time thought I should sue.
So she was not paid for the contract that she was promised from TYT? Oh, guys, we might have some fresh drama here. She's making allegations, no? Like she's actually making allegations, right? The fact that Anna is still there and she's banned from the network is the fucking height of absurdity. I mean, like Anna might as well be a co-host at this point, like as much share as like Chink.
To get the full 6 months of payment and work that I was owed, but I didn't because I told them that TYT was good people.
Yeah, no, these are severe allegations. I mean, like you're saying they're not the. Oh, okay. So the progressive. Okay, so the progressive network that is always talking about worker wages is not paying wages. Oh, that's just beautiful. All right. Ah, that is beautiful. Okay. All right, cool. We'll see if anything comes out of this allegation.
And I wanted to maintain my relationship. And
Well, I was not expecting a fucking 2025 Foodshops rape review.
I did. That is until things started to turn for TYT politically. And this started happening around the pandemic. Around the pandemic, Anna Kasparian seemed to become focused on the issue of homelessness, especially in a city that I used to call home, which is San Francisco. She had an objectively scary experience with an unhoused person, and in fact, I went back to see when she told her audience about this. And I do remember the day that Anna told the story on air. In fact, I was also on after she told that story, but I didn't hear it at the time. It was within an interview that she was doing with an author by the name of Michael Schellenberger, who had written the book San Francisco, Why Progressives Are Ruining Cities. Instead of focusing on housing market prices, on how homelessness often leads to things like addiction and mental illness, Schellenberger focuses on Democrats who thinks go too easy on the unhoused. I remember that I jumped onto the show right after he got off, after that interview, and the TYT audience was really pissed because they felt like the framing and the platforming of someone like Schellenberger was a disservice to the issue of homelessness, mental illness, and addiction.
Okay, this is not a flattering frame, but I digress. Yeah, well, I mean, like, you can platform whoever you want. Um, I mean, TYT can platform whoever they want. I don't think like their audience is so stupid as to think like, oh, one right-leaning person that's like welcomed on is going to be like glorified and then fucking propped up as like a fucking glorified prop. I don't know.
And apparently took that as the chat downplaying what happened to her rather than how the issues were presented. She's since gone on right-wing shows like Glenn Beck, Piers Morgan, and Jillian Michaels, among others, to retell this story and use it as rationale for why she feels the left left her, that maybe she's never been.
Dude, I'm just gonna say this right now. I have been sympathetic to Anna Kasparian because, I have criticized Vosh's coverage of Anna Kasparian because Vosh is just like unironically misogynistic towards her. But Anna Kasparian has been grifting, not grifting, but more like fuck, she's been having a change of heart, as they say. Yeah. Like at first I defended her. Would you go work for TYT Foods in a heartbeat? But like in the thing is that I better be paid. I want to be paid. I want to be paid for doing content creation. Fuck yeah. As long as I get the freedoms that I want to do. But at the same time, I'm gonna feel very tempted to fucking blast Anna and Chink. Obviously, I get to go more off the rails here, right? Honestly, probably not. But then I would need some way to say, like, to the audience, hey, by the way, just so you know, I refuse the TYT offer. Please support me. But then, I could get paid more in exposure if I'm in TYT. But whatever, man.
In left, why she's politically homeless, or, sorry, politically unhoused. Since then, she's gone on to cover critical.
Foodshops, you're lovely, and I wish I engaged more with what you say or show. I can't tell if it's because my content sucks or... I can't tell anymore. Thank you, though. I appreciate that.
Stories from a right-wing framing, like the alleged takeovers of buildings by Venezuelan gangs in Aurora, Colorado, like the mentally ill, undocumented man in Los Angeles who was found lighting fires, but who was not responsible for the wildfires themselves in January. throwing progressive mayors like Brandon Johnson of Chicago under the bus because he listens to teachers too much. Anna's actually really skilled at what she does,
Mama
so
and
the
study. I don't know what
laziness
that
with
means,
which she treats
but
these
good luck.
stories really just stands out all the more. Let me give you some backstory though of
Oh gosh, every single time I pause a frame, it's just not very flattering. Fuck, I should stop. Okay, no, don't judge a woman just by their looks, okay? She is winning an exposure, to be honest, the vid. Well, to be fair, she's been part of TYT for years. She's been part of TYT for years, through thick and thin. So, obviously when she leaves, she's going to get a lot of exposure because people are overall kind of dissatisfied with the Young Turks, because they've been kind of just a bunch of bitches recently.
Anna and my friendship. We've never been close, despite a hike, a dinner, and the time that she generously gave me a gift for my new baby, and then explained to me that she was going to debate Ben Shapiro because, in her words,
Holy fuck. She had a baby and she still looks beautiful. Amazing. TYT's ironically opposed the Dems by taking the most optics cucked Chuck Schumer position ever. I agree.
she,
I
quote,
agree.
felt she could
I
win
agree.
over his audience.
I think Chuck
Two
Schumer is the
moments with
perfect way
Anna
to
stand
describe
out for
it.
me in terms of how I've always treated her. In 2016, I was working with AJ Plus, and we were at the RNC. I had just started going on TYT a little bit and meeting everyone. And TYT was there, and Anna
Did she say the RNC?
was there,
Huh?
and she was frustrated because
Okay.
she hadn't been booked on many appearances on camera, and instead a panel of men mostly clogged up the day. I stood next to her and told her how annoying that was and just tried to build her up in solidarity. Then in 2019, we went out to lunch in Los Angeles at an awesome spot that she knew of. And Anna confided to me that she was frustrated about leadership at TYT, how she wasn't involved in day-to-day decision making, and how Cenk viewed her more as a kid sister rather than a co-equal partner. And at the time, she wanted to branch out on her own and do videos on a new channel. I implored her at that moment to stay. I said that it's always women that tend to walk away from organizations, even when they've helped build them up to the point that they're at. I told her to fight for more of a decision-making role and to not walk away.
Sounds like DEI. See, this is exactly why we hate women in this stream, okay? DEI. I'm kidding. No, I totally sympathize with her, okay? Like, yeah, I mean, like, it does sound like a real issue. And, a lot of these things, like, in private is a lot more complicated than, how people perceive them out to be, right? Like, because the average audience member is going to go like, oh my gosh, this is... oh, who cares, whatever, right? But then, there's a lot of complicated, nuanced, and uncomfortable positions that people in private are forced to take, right? Like the casual misogyny, the casual sexism, right? These things do happen. These things happen a lot, actually. And a lot of these things you can't just call out people for because you don't have enough evidence, but you feel gaslit and you gaslight yourself into thinking, one way or another. It's like so subtle and systemic. Yes, exactly. It's like, for example, how do you show that you are like being treated unfairly as a woman if you don't get enough show slots on prime time? Like if there's prime time and you're fighting really hard to improve your commentary to get that prime time show slot, how do you show that, you might be discriminated against? Because you don't know, right? So the thing is that like this is something where you can't call out a person for, but at the same time you feel devalued. You know for a fact this is probably something to do with your womanhood because you worked harder than ever to get there, right? So these things are complicated. But anyway, DEI, we hate women, okay? DEI, we hate women, okay? People might see this on YouTube and think, haha, YouTube shitters, but TYT was fairly close to a functioning media firm. I agree. Yeah, no, like, again, they're huge. Yeah, absolutely. And, these common issues, we should have some empathy, all right? Yeah, human office dynamics, exactly. Yeah, she is describing, exactly.
And she did. And it looks
got
like the
it.
editorial decisions that we see being made at TYT are in part because she now has the reins. In a way, I'm proud of her, even if I don't like the coverage. In November of last year, in an effort to understand where Anna was coming from and why she was doing what she was doing, I invited her to come on my show, The Bituation Room. She agreed, but also told me that she had a family emergency that sounded bad, and I told her to not worry and that we would find a time in the new year. That week, she went on Glenn Beck's show, and it kind of puzzled me, to be honest. She obviously now is likely not going to come on my show, in part because Cenk did. And I wanted to talk to him about his own very cordial conversations with the right since the election or re-election of Donald Trump, in which he tells various figures from Charlie Kirk to
Give me a
Patrick
second.
Bet-David to Tim Pool
Who is
to
here?
RFK Jr. lover, again, Jillian Michaels, about how he agrees that the left is often cruel and too extreme, saying that at a time where people are literally being disappeared for their political beliefs by this right-wing agenda. Anyone can watch the discussion. I put it in the link below, and it's honestly just a really disturbing portrait of his very with me or against me mentality. I even foreshadowed in the video the idea that he would boot me from TYT one day, and he did. It was also staggering how much he was
I mean, like, again, it just kind of sucks. It just goes to show that, women are, not like, this is not a woman thing specifically, I think in this case. But you do have to work extra hard as a woman sometimes in some of these positions, and I can totally, sympathize and empathize with that. I think I talked about before where when I was presenting as a man, there's a lot of things I took for granted, but then the moment that I was like recognizable as a woman, outside the house, like at grocery stores and in different spaces, there's a lot of things where I begin to realize like, holy shit, I took a lot of these things for granted. But fuck me, I guess. Like, yeah, it's again, it's like these kinds of things are worth talking about, right? Also demonstrated chinks and egomaniac crybaby really. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think there are pros and cons on both sides, but there's an argument that could be made that women do have to work harder in some areas. I mean, yeah, I mean, like a lot of it is very subtle sexism that you can never call out in person ever because you will regret calling it out. A lot of subtle sexism, a lot of crazy subtle sexism, very subtle. It's extremely subtle. Hassan's whole show was being a dude bro sexist, and he's still sexist. I would still argue that Hassan is sexist. Like I would still argue that he's a douchebag. He goes to brothels. He has porn stars over all the time. He has a very dude bro mentality. He dismisses rapes that happened on October 7th, right? So it's like, what do you got? Your orders show it? I don't know about that one. Okay, we'll see. Okay, it's like penis. I'm kidding. It's not penis. Okay, yeah, but yeah. Food review? Nah, I'm too lazy. He's the frat bro, loser, college weirdo. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like a lot of these, like, there's a term for this. It's called brochalists. All right, it's like socialists who are guys who still retain a lot of the misogyny they're supposed to have shed, because they're like, oh, like, oh, that's a woman. We're not gonna invite her into the club. But they're gonna say like, oh, I'm for women's rights. I'm like 100% for women. We believe in workers' rights. We believe in women or whatever, right? But they don't. It's just like a bunch of fucking cringe, is what it is.
shadowboxing with me as some kind of stand-in for the max left that has lost their minds. In that video, he laughed at me for suggesting that Trump would create detention camps. After the discussion in December, TYT main show never asked me back on.
Oh, we were talking about
and
this
then when I
earlier?
made a
Yeah.
harmless little video pointing out that
I just don't know where the subtle line of sexism versus just some behavior have that men don't. Example one would be that women tend to be more agreeable, but it also mattered that women don't tend to be. This goes back to the red pill shit, where people are, kind of like conditioned differently throughout society, where they grow into certain roles, and they're going to be acting in certain ways. But at the same time, some are detrimental, some are good. And in fact, women being more agreeable is also a problem. They have to kind of learn how to put their foot down as well. That's kind of a problem. I don't know. It's just, yeah. That is conditioning. Yes. No, Bell comment is right. That is conditioning. Like, you want to be this kind of demure housewife girl is looked upon as very attractive as a very attractive thing. Just look at any kind of anime media where the housewife, shy Japanese girl is showing us like the very like, oh, this is a, oh, ooh, shy, whatever, right? And then just look at traditional like what's attractive. It's just like very submissive, very shy, turns men on by how shy they are, right? Or whatever. So, this is like totally a thing. Yeah, you'd be wrong to, I mean, it's not like it's not sexy or not hot, right? Because you grow up in a society where it's depicted as hot, so you grow into it. But at the same time, you kind of have to acknowledge the issues that come from it, right? Yeah. We meant to fall in love with being dominated. Seriously, submissive men must be. Okay, never mind. I don't know if that's the point I want to get across. Foodshops question: do you find yourself often having different scenarios in your life, since one can argue you may not have conditioned to the traditional shy agreeable type? Well, I mean, like, that's one of the things where you fuck um that's one of the things where, like, out in public I'm like a really polite, shyish person. Like, out in public I'm like, oh, thank you, oh, I appreciate that, oh, thank you, I appreciate that, blah blah blah. Oh, can I please take a look at, aisle 5? Can you please help me out, please? I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for helping me out. I'm like I am actually like that. I'm like that, all right? Like, in public. This is what I do. Because yeah, I mean, like, fuck. But obviously when I'm on stream, I am the power. I am the dominance on this stream, okay? Like, because on stream I'm like a fucking, you know, powerhouse of power. You guys are under my feet, okay, technically. In public, she has a good, yes, okay. In public, yes, I am very kind of diminutive, whatever, right? And like, I'm like going, oh, oh, thank you. Oh, I really appreciate that. Oh, thank you. Please, can I please have that? Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I was just wondering if you could just help me out right here. Meanwhile, here I'm like, ugh, ugh. Okay, like, obviously, different scenarios call for different food jobs, right?
Yes, there are detention camps. That seemed to be one of the final straws. Personally, Jenk and I were never close. In 2022, I think, we went out to lunch and he asked me if I wanted to work with TYT full time. And it gave me pause. Look, I work with a number of outlets. I am a stand-up comedian. I value my free time.
Wait, the quartering is 300K in personal debt? Was this recent?
And I have my own show. I wanted time.
Doesn't he make like a ton of money off of his YouTube because he farms like rage bait videos?
Time to do those things, but also I pay through the nose for things like healthcare, and a little bit of job stability would be amazing. I also know how hard the company works people who work there, and I know how it treated the union drive. I also know how much they deny full-time employees bonuses every year, even when they're delivering millions of views. I know that they're kind of cheap, and Jenk usually doesn't like it when people negotiate with him. So I said, sure, I want to work for TYT full-time, but it depends on the offer. Which, by the way, you should always ask for an offer before you pledge loyalty to anyone or any company. An offer never came, because in my view, loyalty wasn't a given. All this to say, I'm not sad.
Wait, holy cow, these are severe allegations, no? Guys, these are severe I mean, like she would be more true, in my opinion, if more people were to come forward and make these allegations. But these are allegations of like workplace, like fucking bad, toxic workplace, right? What is a severe allegation? Well, I mean, it's not rape. For once, it's not anything sexual related, but not paying employees, bosses being a bitch, toxic workplace culture, maybe, all right. Maybe some subtle sexism. Like, these are still allegations that are worth investigating. These are not just like nothing burger shit, right? These are things that, are objectively bad and should be called out. But they're not sexual in nature. Like, none of these are sexual in nature, but like, it sounds bad, right? Does it not? Yeah.
To leave TYT behind, especially now. With
So yeah, I mean, like, these are just about the most serious allegations you should levy forward, like, that are not sexual, pretty much.
Of course, the exception
I don't trust this woman. Why do you have to say it like that?
Of the damage report with John Idarola, who I care about and I think is so talented. But we live in a time of right-wing monsters, authoritarians, and yes, fascists. And anyone capitulating to their framework about human rights, about policing, around militarism, is not serious about liberation or democracy. Please, never watch anyone who can't admit when they're wrong. Never watch anyone who tells you that their strategy is right and that they are the way, the truth, the light. Never listen to anyone who doesn't have a sense of humor when they are acting like a bitch. I am one person with a scrappy YouTube channel who pieces together my annual living. I have a fraction of the
She'll be fine, okay? I'm just gonna say this right now, okay? People love her. She has over 100K subscribers. She is generally well off. Like, I'm sorry, okay? She better not say that she's poor or something, okay? Well, I mean, she has a kid. Wait, no, hold on. So she has property and she has a kid. Maybe she's paying off mortgage? Maybe she has stuff that she needs to pay off? Okay, never mind. Okay, never mind. She is kind of just getting by, probably. She's probably just getting by. But if she's living alone, she's very well off. Yeah. I mean, like with over 100K subscribers and it's an active audience and whatever, if you're living alone, yeah, you're fine. You're gonna be fine. Um, but with a kid, child support and with a husband, oh, I don't know.
following of TYT, which is a
Because I have to think
million
about it.
dollar media company. The idea that they choose to focus
Probably
on
more than
me
that.
or other leftist creators in their field is honestly really disheartening and very revealing. Look, I wish the best for the people of TYT, but as for the main hosts, I kind of just wish them peace. Because it's been a long, long road with many skeletons in many closets. And honestly, I don't think they know where that road is going. And it's going to be really sad when they respond to this video or try to smear me as if there weren't so many other pressing things to talk about. But I just had to get it off my chest, explain to you what's going on, and tell you that I am the host of the Bitchuation Room podcast.
Okay. All right, cool. Um, okay. I mean, like we'll see where her allegations go. We'll see if anybody comes forward to say that she's wrong or she's right. It's kind of hard to produce. It's kind of hard to produce, evidence for this when, what she is saying has happened so long ago. Because yeah, but at the same time, if you're putting forward allegations, it would be good to have some evidence. Like you've said these things, then okay, fine, find some evidence. Like I listen, it's I hate Shank, okay? I don't like Shank. I don't like Anna Kasparian either now, which is really disappointing. Um, but at the same time, it's like, oh fuck. I really hope she doesn't go the Jimmy Dore way. I really hope she doesn't go the Dave Rubin way, okay, herself. It's like a 50-50 coin toss at this point because everybody who came from TYT just essentially become like a fucking supervillain, okay? Like they literally become like a fucking global homo villain. Except for David Pacman, okay? I hope she becomes like David Pacman, but not fucking Dave Rubin or fucking like these people are, oh god, like actual crazy grifters. Like known grifters pretty much, like paid for by Russia, simping for Putin, the most reprehensible positions you could ever adopt, right? And say that you're still on the left, give me a break. Yeah, no. Okay, we'll see. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, not the global homo, sure, not the global homo. Okay, guys, we probably have to save the other topics for a later time, okay?